This is video 2 in our Hidden Art of Homemaking series. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Laura Wilkie with Down Home with Lemon Pie, and this is a video book series where I am going chapter by chapter with you guys through The Hidden Art of Homemaking by Edith Schaefer. This is a book that was it was monumental during its time. It was written in 1971. We've talked about that. This is the second video, and this book challenged and changed the way that women as homemakers are viewed, and not only as others viewed them, but as they viewed themselves, and have enriched the lives of those around them within their home. And so just a great book. I'm excited to be going through this with you guys. This is video 2, and we're going to be jumping into chapter 2 and 3 today. All right, so chapter 2 starts out, it is, what is hidden art? She says, I would define hidden art as the art which is found in the minor areas of life. And she says, by minor, I mean what is involved in the everyday of anyone's life, rather than their career or their profession. She says, each person, I believe, has some talent which is unfulfilled in some hidden area of their being, and which could be expressed and developed. The hidden art. And I love that she talks about it as like that minor area, the everyday things, like the yes, homemaking is a huge thing at it. I know there's always like this background discussion about whether or not being a homemaker is a true profession, a true job, a meaningful task. And I love that she talks about minor, because whether you're a homemaker or not, there are things that we all do, and we all do them every day. We do laundry, we make meals, we tidy our houses, all these little things that we do. And it's like that hidden art, those little parts of throughout your life that are made beautiful because you did something with them. And I love that, because we are Charlotte Mason homeschoolers, and Charlotte Mason talks about the same thing, about making beauty in just your everyday, the everyday magic of every day, and making things in your life beautiful. And I really love that she addresses that. Then she says the choice of the use of one's time will be deeply involved. How you're going to use your time, how are you going to go about getting these things on top of other things. And she does address this. She says, I'm not suggesting that everyone can include in their daily life all the ideas in these pages. She says, I'm simply going to outline a few areas of life where I feel many of us could experience a greater personal fulfillment in creativity, and so enrich the lives of the people we live amongst. She says all art involves conscious discipline. I absolutely love that, because it's true. It's true. She says involves discipline in time and energy. If you have been a homemaker or a mama for a while, you get that. There's so many things competing for our attention and our time and our energy, and where we decide to put that time and energy is about priorities. And that's actually what she talks about next. The balance of the use of time is a constant individual problem for all of us. Absolutely. What to do and what to leave undone. What can wait? You hear like if your kids are choose your battles. Like what things are you going to fight about, and what things are you going to move on? Same thing. What things in your life or in your home are you going to put the time and effort into, and what things are you going to let slip? And it's okay. She said the question is one of priorities. It would be very frustrating if we expected each other to do each thing perfectly, or to add new creative things without eliminating something else. So I absolutely love this, because I have talked about several times on this channel and several times on different social media sites. I've talked about things that we do in our home. For example, one of the things that I really like to do with my kiddos is when there's holidays, I like to make pancakes in the shape of something that goes along with that holiday. And I see a lot of people striving for perfection. So I purposely post pictures that are not perfect. Like we just had Easter, so I made Easter bunny pancakes. Obviously, Easter is not about a bunny, but it is part of the season in spring. So I made Easter bunny pancakes, and I don't worry about perfection. Why? Because my kiddos are not going to remember perfection. They're going to remember that it was done, or that they had a mom who took the time to do this. They're going to remember, oh, I remember growing up, I had Easter bunny pancakes. They're not going to remember, oh, but they were horribly shaped. The things that we see as moms, sometimes we're way too critical about the things that we do in our own homes. And really, our kids just want to know that we're there and that we're trying and that we're there for them. So, I love that she talks about, it would be ridiculous if we wanted everything to be perfect. And then if we know that it's not going to be perfect, that we don't even try. Like, that's just ridiculous. And we don't teach our kids that either. We're always telling them, you still need to try. So, little bit of a rabbit hole there. A Christian above all people should live artistically, aesthetically, and creatively. We talked a lot about this in the last video. So if you missed that one, go back. It is in a playlist, so you can find it. She says, we are supposed to be representing the Creator who is there and whom we acknowledge to be there. It is true that all men are created in the image of God, but Christians are supposed to be conscious of this fact, and being conscious of it should recognize the importance of living artistically, aesthetically, and creatively as creative creatures of the Creator. I love that. I love it because we should be. We talked about in the last video, a lot about in the last video, about how art was kind of taken over and was used for wrong things. And we as Christians know better, so we should do better. Does this mean that we should all drop everything to concentrate on trying to develop into great artists? No, of course not. There should be a practical result of the realization that we have been created in the image of the Creator of beauty. Okay. The fact that you are a Christian should show in some practical area of a growing creativity and sensitivity to beauty, rather than a gradual drying up of creativity and blindness, and a blindness to ugliness. I love that. As a Christian, you should be creating things that honor God. Not, oh, art's bad, so we're not going to have any in our home or anything that's associated with that. You should be doing things that honor God, and that would be appreciated. We may think, if only. Who is guilty of the if only? I know I am. If only I weren't so tied down with the mundane things of life. If only I had had a chance to go to art school. If only I had time to develop instead of being caught in this job. If only I hadn't this endless round of housework and crying babies to overwhelm me. If only feelings can and will distort your personalities and give you an obsession which can only lead to more and more dissatisfaction. It is so true. I get it, mamas. If you are a mama with lots of little ones, I get it. I get it. But we can find times and moments to still take time to do things in our homes that are beautiful. We can even do them while we're raising our kids. If it's overwhelming, we can do them during nap time. We can do them after bedtime. We can do them early in the morning. We can find times on the weekend when husband's home and can help out. There are times you just may have to look for it, and it's not going to be the same for all of us, but there are times that you can find to grow in this area. It may be helpful to consider some of the possibilities all of us have of really living artistically, but which are often ignored. This is going to be a great book because she's going to give us a bunch of ideas of where and how we can implement all of these skills. And it says, people so often look with longing into a daydream future while ignoring the importance of the presence. If you missed my video, I just did a video about this, about waiting and being in that season of waiting. I did a video. I will link it below because it's exactly about this. About how you feel like, oh, well, we can't do that. We'll get to that someday. When we have this, when we have more money, when the kids are grown, when we have a better house or job or whatever. But what about now? About now? What can you do now? Man, yes, if you missed that video, go check that one out. It will encourage you and it will really help you in this area because we all need that. We all need that reminder. She says, for many people, and too often for many Christian people, the areas in which they could be creative have been encased in a cast, stiffened with disuse. So true. Often we are so, little kids are creative. They're very creative. And as we grow, we get so engaged in all of these other things, in, paying bills and having jobs and all these things that we just let things slide and we don't put a focus on them. They're not a priority. And this book is about making those things a priority because they are lasting, they are good, and they will make you feel good. They are honorable to God. And so jumping into chapter 3, chapter 2 was short, chapter 3, music. And I don't know about you guys, but I do not play a musical instrument, I thought. And I don't, though. I don't play any of these instruments on this picture. I don't know. I didn't learn them as a child and I don't know them. I do want my kiddos to play instruments. In fact, they've the 3 oldest have been in piano classes for years. And they're not presently in piano classes, but they have been. And I want them to have that skill. But even if you don't, even if you're like me and you don't have skills and you don't play a tangible instrument, she's going to tell us how we can still incorporate music into our homes, into our lives, into our families. So that's what this chapter is about. She says, you are not a great musician, but you do play an instrument, or you did. This isn't really where she was going with this, but where I went with this thought was to children. I went to children. I went to my childhood. When you're a kid, you will sing, you will beat on boxes, and like with this carefree desire, like you don't even have, you don't have skills to play or any of that, but you will just play and you will sing and you will dance and you will you're off key. You don't even know all the words, but you still do it. And as we grow older, we lose that, freedom. We lose that. And as children will always sing, and they will always sing without worry of how they're going to sound, whether or not they know the words. They will just join in. And I feel like we need to get that back as mamas. It says, people working or living with you are affected by what is going on in you and are also being deprived of what you could be sharing. Wow. How convicting to think that as a mom, things that we're not doing can still cause an issue for our kiddos. But I think about, the things that we're not doing, like when you read an old-fashioned book, when you watch an old-fashioned movie, the mother is always singing. And you may be thinking, I'm not a good singer, I don't know songs or whatever. But I think that the skill is not that you don't know the songs or that you don't think you're a good singer. I think the skill is we have not, as a society, raised up children in a home where that is going on, where mom is singing throughout her day, like the whistle while you work or any of that. I feel like a lot of that has gone away. And it's important for our kiddos to have those beautiful memories. When you think back of your childhood, you probably can remember times when there was music playing in your home. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, but I remember there was music videos and things playing. They may not have always been great, and that's okay because we were growing, But as an adult and as a Christian, I can still take those ideas of having music on in the background of our home and put it into a Christian manner. I can play Christian music. I can sing Christian songs. I can just even, this is so silly, but it works. Even when I want the kiddos to do something or I'm asking them something, I will even sing it in like a sing-song thing. Like if I'm trying to get their attention and they're not listening to me, I might go up and say, "And did you make your bed today?" And then they automatically, without even being prompted, will say, "Yes, I made my bed today," or "No, I need to do that." And they'll run away and go do it. And it just makes the experience and the interaction a little bit more enjoyable and less confrontational, okay? Then, "Did you make your bed? Go do it," you know? And just having that music in our day-to-day lives, it's so good and so important. Let's get back to the chapter. She says, music should be a part of the life of any family or other group of people who have any musical talent at all, okay? Creative ideas and imagination will be sparked off in others in a way which will be fulfilling and satisfying, even if it's not earth-shaking in its talent. So even if you do not have amazing talent, you will still spark off in others, in your children, in your spouse, fulfillment and satisfaction as they go through their day, as they grow and they're an adult and they're thinking back about their own childhood. We should not have music being only played when we travel in the car or when we're going to bed. There should be a joy in music throughout the day. She says, the freedom to express yourself in a medium that is yours will develop, and so will your personality and the personalities of those around you, making you more interesting to have around. And you will yourself be a more interesting person. I'm reminded of a neighbor we had when my oldest children were very, very young. We had a neighbor and we were just going on a walk around the block, me and the kiddos, and the neighbor stopped us. She saw a young mom with her young kiddos and she got to talking and we became friends. And after a couple times of doing this, we invited her over, and she came over and she just sang to the kids. I mean, we were just visiting and she just sang and made up songs, and it was lovely and wonderful. And she sang old-fashioned songs that I was thinking, oh, I remember that one. Then later, a few weeks later, we went to her house and she actually had a piano. She invited us over and she just sat down. She put my daughters right next to her and they played and they sang. And no, my daughters didn't play piano. They just banged around on the keys like little kids do. But they remember that now as older kids. They remember that and they're like, yeah, I remember doing that. It was so fun. I loved that. And we only did it a few times and then we moved. But those small things make an impression, especially when things like beauty, art, and music are included. She goes next into talking about some of the groups of people in her little organization, La Aubrey, that we talked about. And then it goes into this togetherness in creating music can include the composition of original music. Do not kids all make songs all the time? They make up their own songs all the time where there is the talent. And then she says, families with no talent for producing music at any level can enjoy music appreciation with a selected variety from a slowly growing collection to listen to. So yeah, music is at our fingertips. It should be played all the time. In our homeschool, we do a folk song and a hymn study. Every week we do a different one or something. Usually they go for 2 weeks. But the point is that I make it a point of our daily life to, even if we don't get music played at any other time, definitely in the morning, we either listen to a hymn or we listen to a folk song. We sing it, we dance it, we have a good time. We make it an enjoyable experience. Sometimes while on Sunday mornings, I will play classical hymns, like classic hymns. During times that we have like a quieter time, or when I'm making lunch, I might put on classical music, or I might put on more modern Christian bands, like for King and Country or something like that, on just playing it off my phone. I do that quite often, actually. But yeah, just all these little times that we can throw it in just as part of the background of life. I like that. She says children should be exposed to good music. We have played classics, whether it is being produced by parents or being heard together on a record player or discussed or performed in a concert hall. I think it's important to remember that we can take our kids to places that have music, to concerts, to classical concerts, to summer concerts in the park, whatever it is that you have near you. Places where there is the greatest variety of good music so that natural talent may find the necessary spark to set it on fire. I remember being a teenager and going out with my mom and stepdad. We would go to places where they had live music, and I just enjoyed it so much. It was different kinds of music. There was like folk music and all different kinds, and just, maybe just a guy with a guitar, playing off to the side in a restaurant or something, but they really enjoyed that. And I remember those experiences. I remember going to see people play and just being exposed to it all the time. The natural inclination of small children, right? We talked about this, to blow whistles and beat drums should be encouraged and led by parents with some imaginative plan to lead on from the tuneless drum beating into the next steps of music production. One of the ways you can do this in your home is through Bible verse memorization. We always did Bible verse memorization, especially when the kids were young, to like a beat or a rhythm, and we would clap it or we would stomp it or we would whatever, and we would just make it up as we were going, and they remember many of those because of that, because we did that. And even some of them, I can just barely say the first couple words and they will all repeat whatever it is to the rhythm of however they learned it. And music and learning, they just go hand in hand. They do. She says, do not be embarrassed to take along a violin or a flute to someone's home if you think there's going to be time for singing. Yeah, absolutely. This also may encourage someone else to bring their instrument next time. Instead of simply listening to professionals, going to concerts, or turning on your radio or TV, why not try making your own music? Who knows what new symphony might come forth? Of course, kids are always making that stuff up. Okay. Making a collection of musical things that would bring great satisfaction and also provide a means for creativity. Okay, so yeah, having music books on hand, having instruments, even if you make them, that you guys go get. How about this? It talks about collecting native drums. That would be so fun to just make it like your thing. Like, we are going to collect instruments that we find at garage sales or whatever. I don't know. That would just be so fun to have a bunch of that are on hand. She says there is really no need for a background of music school. This is the excuse that I feel like everybody uses, including myself. Acceptance into a good orchestra as a violinist or public acclaim, or even an invitation to play in church in order to fulfill one's capacity in music. We often all say, but I don't know how to play an instrument. I can't do it. Yes, you can. You can try, because you probably did when you were a kid and it was fine. And honestly, your kids are not going to know. And as they grow, you will get better and they'll remember that. They'll remember that, the part where you got better. You simply express yourself in music for your children, the children of the neighborhood, your friends, your neighbors whose windows are open, just like that lady did for us. You can use your voice. One never knows what surprisingly satisfying things God has in his plan for the developed talent, which is literally given to him to use or to lay aside. Okay. The idea of making a joyful noise unto the Lord is expressed in the Bible. Singing or playing an instrument in the deepest wood or a lonely seashore or on a windswept hill is not totally unheard. Birds might join in its reply. Sheep might turn their heads. But this is not what I mean. There is a God who is there and who is personal and who accepts music as praise to himself, as worship when given to him in this sincere way, without being strained through the strainer of human acceptance. Yeah. Yeah. If we followed the urging of God as given through David in the Psalms, we would not be embarrassed to fulfill our urge to make music for God's ears alone. Ultimately, God is who you're honoring in your music. Not, did you create the latest song? Not, were you on key or off key or whatever. Ultimately, it's for God, and God wants to see that you're trying, that you're loving Him, and that you're honoring Him. Not that you're cowering in a corner and refusing to do it. Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song, for He hath done marvelous things. The Lord hath made known His salvation. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise. Sing unto the Lord with the harp and the voice of a psalm, with trumpets and sound of cornet. Make a joyful noise before the Lord the King. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell within. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the hills be joyful together before the Lord. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. There's really not. That is one of the ways we can really honor God in our homes day to day, and it's beautiful, and we should be doing that. So there you go, guys. That is chapter 2 and 3 in the hidden art of homemaking. I hope you guys are enjoying this journey as much as I am. Next week, we will do chapter 4, probably all by itself. Yes. And so I hope you guys can join me for that. Like I said, all of these videos are in a playlist linked below. And also, if you haven't already, do subscribe, and I can't wait to share with you guys what we're going to be doing on Friday for Homeschool Fellowship Friday, so stay tuned.